Now, over the last couple of days, the country has been treated to two pandemics all at the same time. The coronavirus that we have had since March this year, and a recent outbreak of the highly infectious verbal diarrhea. We wouldn't worry about the second epidemic if it were restricted to the politicians, who are in fact the super spreaders. But this is a pandemic that starts with the politicians, yes, but spreads so quickly in the population that it becomes impossible to do any meaningful contact tracing. And the consequences are often grave, many times including a high death toll. Let me explain. You see, for nearly 2 weeks now, we have heard words that often emerge around election campaigns. Never mind that the elections in this country are still 2 years away. Words like incitement, hate speech, insults, and every other form of bad manners that falls in this category. Politicians have emerged from whichever woodworks and are spewing insults that are so odious the stench is rising to the high heavens. We have seen politicians in the governing party Jubilee liberally exchange in a despicable bad manners contest that has left many Kenyans confused about which government is which. We have also seen some opposition politicians, if they can still be called that, join their Jubilee colleagues on that low road to national shame. Please, I understand that I am a great advocate of freedom of speech. It is, after all, what underpins the work I do as a journalist. I know that politicians generally earn a living by talking, and the occasional jab at opponents is very much part of the package. But I'm concerned about what I'm hearing right now, because I know what it does to the average guy walking on the streets, the fellow who comes to post a picture or two on Facebook, the man looking after goats in some rural village, and the woman going about her daily chores. I know because since the latest flare-up in political rhetoric, I've sampled comments on social media, and you can tell that there is a big virtual war going on there. This one supporting that politician, the other spewing vitriol, the other dragging in the whole tribe, and before long, it's out of control. This has been the pattern every election year, that the politicians speak, but the people fight. That is why tonight I'm choosing to speak to the people rather than the politicians. In 2007, 2008, the country literally went to war following a disputed election. The reasons for the final flare-up were varied depending on who you asked. But everyone agreed that the words spoken from both sides of the ODM-PNU divide at the time had everything to do with fueling the conflict. The people followed their leaders and slaughtered their neighbors, burnt houses, and carried out many inexplicable atrocities. But when the two protagonists, Mwai Kibaki and Raila Odinga, stood on the steps of Harambee House at the end of the February day 2008, to announce they had reached a deal, the violence stopped. They went ahead to form a government and moved on with their lives. But the people who had died did not come back. The children who had lost their fathers or mothers, the wives who'd lost their husbands, and husbands their wives, did not get them back. The houses that were burnt down remained deserted. The relationships that had been built over years remained shattered. We could say the same of the election in 2017 and the handshake that followed in 2018. But I will be belaboring the point. Here are the hard facts, ladies and gentlemen. The politicians will always speak, but they will never force you to listen to them. The politicians almost always insult one another, but there is no constitutional requirement for you to join them in that low road. Because they do not care about you. That is a cold reality. Because in the end, they almost always make up when it is all over. They shake hands and smile, and we are all left wondering just who was fooling whom. Like I said before on this show, this is indeed the silly season. But you do not have to be the silly one. That is my angle for the week.